the bridge between Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's democratic socialism and regular old socialism. Who pays for all of that free stuff that she's promising? I mean, it would be great. I'm not going to lie. If you look at what she's promising, who wouldn't want to have all of that disposable income, someone else paying for everything that you're doing? But who pays for it? Question number one, to ask your liberal peers, what's the difference between democratic socialism and just good old regular socialism? Define it. When government takes over the means of production and distribution, when government redistributes wealth, that's socialism, right? And when the government takes over people's profits through taxes and redistributes that money by giving away free stuff, that's democratic socialism. That's the same. The only difference is maybe, just maybe, in democratic socialism, the people choose socialism, and in regular old socialism, it's imposed on them. So like the difference between murder and suicide, the same end, you're dead. Question number two, where in the world has socialism ever worked? In Venezuela? As we speak, people are fleeing that country because there's no toilet paper on the shelves. I read a story about a month ago about a little girl, I think she was 10 years old. She was in the hospital for an infection that we would have just run to CVS or Walgreens for an antibiotic and not even missed a day of school. This kid landed in the hospital because there were no antibiotics available. And she only lived because the kid in the hospital room next door to her died. And his mom gave the little girl his leftover antibiotics. In Cuba, in the universal healthcare system there, you have to bring your own light bulbs and blankets to the hospital. The surgical instruments are rusty, and the elites fly to Western nations for their medical care. And then the left's favorites, when we say Venezuela and Cuba, they scoff and tell us that that's not going to happen here. They point to Scandinavia. Guess what just happened in Denmark? They canceled their universal basic income experiment because it didn't work. It's shocking, right? In Sweden, they turned their economy back towards capitalism decades ago when socialism was threatening to tank their entire country, their economy. In the Soviet Union, there is no better example of socialism than the Soviet Union. People used to stand for hours in line for a loaf of bread, and they ended up, you can see photographs of this in history books that the left does not want you to open. You can see photographs of them eating their own shoes because otherwise they would have starved. So where has socialism ever worked? Nowhere. Everywhere it's tried, it's brought oppression, starvation, and death. And that brings us to question number three, the bridge between Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's democratic socialism and regular old socialism. Who pays for all of that free stuff that she's promising? I mean, it would be great. I'm not going to lie. If you look at what she's promising, who wouldn't want to have all of that disposable income, someone else paying for everything that you're doing? But who pays for it? I know, Wall Street, the top 1%, that's what she says. But even if you tax the top 1% at a 100% tax rate, it still would not pay for all the free stuff Bernie and Ocasio-Cortez are promising people. So what happens then? Well, you tax the rich, and once the rich aren't rich anymore, you tax the kind of rich. And once the kind of rich aren't kind of rich anymore, you tax the middle class. And once the middle class have been taxed to the point where they aren't the middle class anymore, well, then everybody's equal, right? Isn't that what we were going for? Equally poor, and the government is in charge of all of your money. So question number four, what's going to stop democratic socialism, if there is a difference, from turning into regular old socialism? Nothing. They cannot identify a line or a mark on this continuum of socialism that would stop it from moving from one end of the spectrum to the other. Once you give the government the power to tell people what to do, once government has the power to take our money and give it to somebody else, once the government has the power to tell us what our fair share is, it's just a matter of time before it's full-blown socialism. And so question number five is a question that it's a bit surprising to me that the left doesn't ask. I'm not talking about the radical leftist politicians. I'm talking about the voters. Why on earth do they not ask, why would we want that here? We all want fairness. Everyone in this room, I think, wants fairness. We want every person to get a fair shot and a fair opportunity. But in the past 100 years, 100 million innocent people have been killed by socialist and communist governments and regimes. Is that What democratic socialists want to happen here